Hi, everybody. My name is Desree. I am a spoken word artist based in London and Slough. I like to call myself a nomad because I drift in between. And today I am so happy and so honoured to be hosting the launch of Poetry in the Pandemic. This is a series of poems put together by a bunch of amazingly talented people that I was able to run workshops with over a period of 6 weeks during the first pandemic, because we're now in another one. And it is just wonderful and beautiful. And I feel so honored to have all of, well, at least some of the people that joined in that workshop on today for you guys. Empowered is my baby. That's the only best way I can describe it. I love it so much. It has been such a staple for so many people over the as many years as it's been running, alongside Home Slough. And every Empowered, we always kickstart with a beautiful singer-songwriter. And where would we be? What would even be the point of a launch if we didn't pay homage to this? So without any further ado, we're gonna get right into the entertainment with the absolutely astoundingly wonderful Jamaica.
You picked me up so much.
You deserve it.
I haven't sang like by myself since like the first lockdown, so yeah. So it's just one song I'm doing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I've been really getting into like new school R&B recently. So I wanted to do one of the songs that I kind of fell in love with, and it's called Like I Want You by Giveon, if I remember how it goes. Sometimes I wish I knew, but all the skies are true. I say I'm happy, but I'm so stuck on highs. Should I play this game too? Think about me and you. I guess I just pretend until it all makes sense. See your face to face and thinking about the days we used to be. But I can make a scene. But I can make a scene. See you face to face and thinking about the days we used to be. But I can make a scene. But I can make a scene like I want you. Even if it's true. Even if it's true. I guess it's overdue to me your point of view. Tell me I'm to blame, I'm too good with change. A table set for two, you got me waiting for you and come. Try and stay patient, we gotta face the truth. Ooh, see you face to face and thinking about the days we used to be. But I can make a scene. But I can make a scene. See you face to face and thinking about the days we used to be. But I can make a scene. But I can make a scene like I want you. Even if it's true. Even if it's true. There's no reason to believe I'll save us now. But if you really love us, save us now. even if it's true. Like I want you, even if it's true. Even if it's true. Like I want you, even if it's true. Even if it's true. Yeah.
There's a virtual like round of applause happening. I know Zoom is so weird. Like all these things are so weird because it feels like you're just like talking into the abyss, right?
It's genuinely like I'm singing to myself in my room, but there's like a few people on screen.
Jamaica, I've been looking at the also I'm gonna say this, and I was gonna kind of like say it as like a just so everybody knows, but actually it's really just me like being like just trying to like be relevant. Me and Jamaica are first cousins. This is me just trying to be relevant, but also she's like she's
I
amazing.
do the same thing. Whenever you perform, I'm just like, Desree's my cousin, by the way.
Also, I always have to say first cousin, so it's not like one of those pretend cousins, like play cousins. It's like we're like actual family. Cousins. Jamaica, the chat has been going off. Everyone's been like, "Go on, Jamaica, we love you, yes, girl." But you're used to that because you're incredible. Tell us if you've got anything coming up.
I don't actually at the minute because I've been focusing on my band.
Oh.
So I'm in like a kind of punk rock indie kind of band thing. So we've released a new song in lockdown. So we all did it from our separate houses. The band's called Kodama. So actually at 9 o'clock tonight, we're getting played on an underground radio show again called Cobcast. So we've got 2 songs that are released on Spotify. You can find them under Kodama UK.
How do you spell that?
Kodama and then UK. So we've only got 2 songs at the minute, but we are looking at recording more. And hopefully, fingers crossed, when this is all done, we did have a few gigs lined up, so I'm hoping we can do it again. I think we had a tour lined up for female-fronted bands, so I'm really hoping that we can do that.
Perfect. That sounds amazing. Well, thank you so much, Jamaica. As always, it is an honor to have you. It feels like just like open the stage for everybody else. You're amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
So next up, we have a poet. He came to a few of our sessions called Javed. Hi, Javed.
Hello, Desree.
How are you?
Very well, thank you very much. And I must say you're doing a wonderful job in the activities that you're doing. So definitely sort of the hats off to all your efforts. Well done.
Thank you. And Javed, you told us, I was speaking to you before and you were telling us about a poetry night that you have coming up. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I've got the poster right behind me. It's a poetry group that I set up about 5 years ago. It's called Poets for Peace, that I'm a part of. And I'm actually a host of a show on the Voice of Islam digital radio. The show is called Poets for Peace, and it's broadcast from the Bat al Futur Mosque in Morden, London, which is actually the largest mosque in Western Europe. So it can accommodate up to about 15,000 worshippers at any one time. It's huge.
Yes.
And so this event, which is taking place on the 19th of December, which is about 5 weeks away, is free to attend. And we've got 12 Muslim poets, all of whom are from different backgrounds and originate from different parts of the world, continents, Africa, and they'll be sharing their poetry on different aspects of what their belief is in Islam. It's quite unique, and I'm going to share the details on the chat window, how you can sort of how you can link up. It's poetsforpeace.co.uk/virtual event. And I do guarantee something that you would be inspired, and it won't be anything you would have experienced before, hopefully.
Oh, that sounds beautiful, Javed. Can we hear a poem?
Absolutely, yeah. This is this poem that I'm about to share has been written during the coronavirus, and I guess just a bit about the poem. Everyone, it's put loads of people's lives at danger. Everyone's been asked to stay at home, and that's pretty much what people have been doing. In fact, they've been seeing a lot of their the four walls of their homes. So this poem that I'm about to share is actually titled "Within These Four Walls." And it's actually a short poem. It's really about a journey of self-discovery that isolation has really forced us to reflect upon, and I sort of and makes us consider whether the real disease, what the real disease is. As a Muslim, I've always been able to find inner peace from my belief in Islam and in my Creator. So perhaps the remedy to this pandemic is in actual fact within the four walls of our homes, is my poem. So here it goes. Within these four walls do I remain. Outside, the world seems engulfed in surging waves, deserted, drenched under darkened clouds, carrying the optimistic yet drowning tales of pure hearts whose work is still allowed. Within these four walls do I remain, on a journey of self-discovery and insight, towards a remedy by searching inside, hoping for a comforting word from a vista of light amidst this darkness to discover a guide. Within these four walls do I remain. Now I nurture my garden at leisure to help build a new earth, striving for the perfume of his pleasure, seeing what fruit or flower I am worth. Thank you. That's it. Very short poem.
Thank you, Javed. That was beautiful. That was a wonderful poem. Thank you so much for sharing with us. And hopefully we get to see you at our next set of workshops. So thank you. Next we have is, she's just like, I met her for the first time. We did a workshop by a poet called Desree. No, not, I'm Desree, she's Desree. Which is actually based somewhere in the US, at this, like, I think it was like 5 o'clock on a Friday or something like that, for me anyway, UK time, but I don't know, I think it was like 11 a.m. wherever Desiree was. But Ramin also came to this workshop, and she's in Pakistan, and I don't know what time was there. But that's how we first met. That's how I first met her, and then she knew about my workshops and then came to my workshops. And she's incredible. She is so good. So I'm going to introduce Ramin and then just ask her a few questions first. Hi, Ramin.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. So one of the first things I wanted to get into with you was that you write a lot about your family, and that your experiences growing up. Have they heard any of these poems?
I just had my dad read the first poem about home today, the one that we published in the zine, and he was like, "You say I don't know how to be a man. What does that exactly mean?" Like, he had questions. So yeah, no, they haven't really heard a lot of my pieces, my poetry. I didn't start publishing until this year. So yeah, a lot of it is very, yeah.
Inside. Perfect. Can we hear something?
Of course. This piece is called About Bad Blood That Comes with Unsolicited Advice from Strangers. At family gatherings, when the uninvited guests poke onto your already jabbing ribs, tell them about the tamales you made, about the way you folded the masa using only your knuckles, about the cheese that refused to melt on the tip of your tongue. When you hear the distant whispers turn into deafening screams, Swallow their judgment whole. Always leave space for dessert. You know, there will always be more. When they mention your trip to the ER, talk about all the hands that touched you and made you cry. Remind them about the needles that were more promising than the truth on which we all rely. When they ask you if you're okay, don't say anything. Tell them there is no word for better, only hope to return somewhere that doesn't look like a four-walled fantasy called a dream. When they ask you about your diet plan, show them the scabs that exist on your body, the dents that feel too permanent to be erased. Tell them you've been washing your skin for years, but the blood keeps surfacing. Tell them you are not alone, that there are people inside of you yet to be found. There are voices that speak louder than your own heartbeat. Tell them again about your stomach as though it was a well, your heart, the storm that never forgets to return, the appetite that can't decide, hands that don't refuse, so that when you leave the house, you are finally full.
Oh, just every time. Also, like, I just want everyone to know that she can do this in like 7 minutes, in 10 minutes. She creates these like beautifully like well-formed poems that is just like incredible to listen to.
Right.
For me, it's to know, like, you have such a special delivery. I think there's something really special about the way that you like you deliver poems. Is that like a skill that you've honed, or is that like through trial and error? Do you perform a lot? Like, where does that come from?
I was never a slam poet. It just came in like all throughout school years. I was just forced onto the stage, and I think like the stutter kind of disappeared with the years as I started performing more and more and more. But I was never like a slam poet. I never like took it upon stage or anything. So
Oh, that's so interesting. Do you so you lived in America for a bit, didn't you, as well?
yeah.
So what's the like, so now you have all these like different like realms of poetry. So you have like the UK, you have the American version, you have like Pakistan. Like how do they differ?
I feel like every poet itself, I don't think it refers with region, but it's more like every poet has their own way of deliverance, the way they write, and then the way they announce things, and then the way they put their stuff out. It's very different for every poet that I've gotten the chance to meet. Like even in America or Nigeria, where I was for 2 years, people had a very different way of putting things out, which is very fascinating.
Oh, I didn't even know that you lived in Nigeria for 2 years. Ramin, can you share something else with us? Is that okay?
Of course, yes. This piece is called What Was in the Stars That Destined Us for Sorrow. Maybe the chaos started when we found life in something destined to be dead, mortal. Maybe the chaos was believing something beautiful could be made out of the darkness that existed beyond our stars. What a thing it is to feel when you're bleeding. What a shame it is to know that the same God you worship, when in vain, is the God who labels your presence a sin, your ability a malfunction, your love immoral. Maybe sorrow is a sign, like the sun is for humanity, for the world to know that even Icarus's sacrifice was out of love, for being too vast for digestion. Maybe sorrow is knowing Zeus could never love. So he created us in pairs spread amidst the globe, somewhere between undiscovered portions of an ocean and land that does not belong to anyone. Maybe sorrow is knowing even God wired to rule the dead, found love in a nymph's spring. Or maybe sorrow is recognizing Persephone's wrath in a room full of success stories. You see, sorrow is inescapable, that without sorrow, our paths could never be congruent. Without grief, even God would lose power to praise. Even the sun would speak for the love in Icarus's eyes. Love would mean traveling in a world to find your other half. It would be present. It would be lifeless. It would be bleak.
Oh, thank you so much, Ramin. Like, you are amazing. You are epic. I hope you love the zine. We are sending one to you, so
I'm excited.
Watch out for that in the post. I'm not sure how long it will take, but watch out for it in the post.
I am so excited.
So This is so amazing. Next we have Divya. Hi, Divya.
Hey,
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Like, I love Divya's work. So Divya is usually a dancer, and like I followed her on Instagram before she came to my workshops, and she's such an amazing dancer. Like, I'm like, there's so many times I'm like, I'll watch one video of hers and then end up watching like 7 videos of hers, because she's just like, she has this presence and this energy that's like next to none. I just love it so much. What made you shift from, well, not shift, but like what enticed you about poetry, that like you're originally a dancer?
Yeah, I'm actually also a producer. So my main role is producing like live events, festivals, kind of theatre and poetry and stuff like that. So I kind of got into watching poetry, like spoken word, and just loved it and like really resonated with it. And I've never like, when I was younger, I wasn't really into like writing page poetry, but when I saw it like spoken on stage and performed, I was like, wow, it's so amazing. So I guess I've just been kind of like around people who've performed, and then I just saw this opportunity, and I think, Desree, you were the first like poet, one of the first poets that I actually saw perform it at Richmond, like a few years ago, and I was like, yes, she's from Slough. So yeah, so then I just loved it, and I saw the course. So this is actually like the first time I started writing, like since May, so all quite new to me, but
Well, it doesn't feel new to you, I'll tell you that, Divya. But you are an amazing writer, and we're lucky enough to have some beautiful pieces in the zine that are yours. Would you mind sharing something with us?
yeah, cool. This one is called Off License. Ooh, let me get the zine open. Cruising down the aisles, knowing exactly what he wanted, he asked her, 12 hours into her lifelong shift, which aisle he could find whitewashed ideals of beauty, women's dignity plucked off the shelf of patriarchy. Straight into his shopping basket went stale masculinity reduced at a price. His gaze fixed upon unripened, shiny, waxed bodies, flashing red lights down aisle 3, a quick exchange of tightly packaged goods and services, the hustle of customers and workers and out-of-stock voices. Only the finest organic virgin hair, mass manufactured, fit for his consumption at the expense of women's tears.
Oof. Oh, anyone that attends my workshop knows I love a last line, and that is such a beautiful last line. You talk a lot about womanhood in your pieces. Like, where does that, obviously, like, where does that come from? Like, what like sparks that? Who was your inspiration behind that? Like, where does that sit for you?
I guess, like, I think in the work that I produce, a lot of the work is political, and to work with really strong women, and that's kind of just inspired me to keep writing. I think seeing like a lot of female South Asian poets recently in the last couple of years, that's really inspired my writing, and I found like my own voice in that. So I think that's where it's come from.
So you're still writing then, and you'll continue to write?
Just here and there. A little bit. Just here and there, yeah. I'm trying to, but I'm still getting used to the whole idea of doing it.
That's it. I love that you write, and I hope that you continue to write, because everything that I've read of yours is wonderful. Do you have another one for us, possibly?
Yeah. Okay. It's on my phone. Cool. It is called It's Not That Deep. He'll say she's crazy, glowing with his mistakes, smiling ear to ear, wearing his deception like a medal. Blissfully aware that his entitlement means he can stomp all over the lines, play hopscotch with her safety while she has to read between them. Logical in his mind, convincing in his conviction, carefully articulating a perfectly laid out narrative so he can orchestrate his prediction. His words like honey, and contrary to his prediction, she firmly reminds him that her body is not his home, but he firmly believes that she's playing hard to get, and he ain't got the time because he knows how it goes, and we all know a man has his needs, his masked with grey smoke, And she has the eyes of a temptress, he believes, a few drinks and a small toke. No harm, no foul, vision blurred. She can smell the gas, but her detectors broke. And she can feel the intrusion crawling up her skin when no means yes to him. He'll say she's crazy and she'll walk away thinking maybe she is and maybe she asked for it and maybe she's too sensitive, but she's the one who has to make sense of it when, according to him, it's just not that deep. While he rests well, she's unable to sleep. Did she really consent to it?
Oh, I said oof before even I turned my mic back on. That's where it hit me. That was incredible. You're such an amazing writer. What's next for you? What's happening? Because I know I didn't know until just now you're a producer. So like, I know that like COVID's messed everything up, but like, what does this mean for you? What's happening next?
I'm still producing. I work at the Barbican at the moment, just started a new role. And I'm on like a hip hop leadership. I do hip hop dance, so I'm on a hip hop leadership program. So kind of addressing the imbalance of like hip hop education and like finding a space for hip hop theatre. But I'm still exploring writing and where that goes and just general like creativity. So yeah, watch this space.
Perfect. Thank you, Divya. Thank you so much. Have a good evening. Guys, just so that you know, because we're elsewhere almost in like the virtual sphere, and the comments are going off like, yes, Divya. Somebody during Ramin's set was like, that's my cousin. So happy Ramin's work is in the anthology. Ramin, you're amazing. Love the Greek mythology references. This is one of my favorite pieces. Love it, Divya. Oh my God. I remember when you dropped that in the workshop, that was amazing. Like literally the comments in the chat are like so intense right now. It's wonderful. It's so beautiful to watch. If you guys have a chance, go and have a look at it. So next up we have Naman, Mr. Nomfam, sorry. I've worked with Naman loads of times. He's an amazing writer. He's always so confident. He brings a different type of energy to the group. So hi, Mr. Nomfam.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfectly.
My headphones staying up. Oops,
I'm just going to start with like a question, because I think we all felt this when you attended the workshops and stuff, but you have a specific energy in your writing and in your presence, like when you're around. Where does this come from? How do you hone this in? Like where, like what is your fuel to write almost?
Well, the energy comes from, I guess, where I struggle to sorry. Okay, whoops, I'm just choosing where I struggle to express myself at the moment. A lot of what I felt comes out on the page. So it could be like, oh, I agreed to something, or I said something that doesn't really represent how I feel. And then I feel really like crappy about it. And I'm like, oh man, why did I say that? So then I try and rectify it in writing. And then a lot of it's just what I observe, I guess.
That is really interesting. I think a lot of people have that. I always try and I always talk about my poetry person as the person who I'd actually like to be. Like,
That's the
version of myself that I want people to know.
I wish I was as cool as Mr. Lumfump.
I wish I was who people think I am. Can you share something with us? We'd love to hear it.
Yeah, of course. So this one's called Lose Myself. Lose myself or lose her. I don't see an outcome where I'm not the loser. I'm used to losing first. This ain't news to her. Good matchup, just bad timing. That news hurts. Bubble burst and the honey loses taste. The moon no longer glimmers and the sun's gone away. I don't think it's coming back. We'd already seen enough rain, so that's what the clouds held back. Closed red eyes, but open soft minds. Compromise. That's what we began with. It wasn't what we were meant to end with. But now that we're ending, The wind howls in the place of the words we couldn't find to express how we feel. My scars revealed I don't like being alone. Your scars revealed you don't like my tone. It's evident I've grown and don't stand for that kind of abuse. You never were one to spew, but the blood of your family's hatred flowed through. And what could I do? Always stood my ground based on my views, but never once projected my lifestyle onto you. So this game of charades we used to play for outsiders looking in to save face left us feeling hollow, untangling the knots of arteries that swapped and borrowed, the bitter pie of acceptance so hard to swallow, the dry crumbs scraping up the walls of my throat, making me choke, eyes water, voice croaks. But I said all I had to, then left the rest to you. Walking away wasn't the issue. I feared letting go meant my hands would never close, never hold another person's love again. How did the warmest month of summer turn so cold? And that's Lose Yourself.
Oh,
That's my boy in the background. I'm actually painting at his house, but this is how much. Yeah, I wanted to come to this. I was like, bro, have you got Zoom? And he goes, yeah, bro, I got it. So literally, I had the stream playing on a speaker, and I was like, I'm up next. Like that. So I threw on a jumper and everything like that. Dedication.
I love the amount of dedication, Mr.
Listen, your workshops, bang.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So, I know that usually you have a musical element to the writing. Where did that come from? What was that?
The music comes from. I've always used the music to help me bring the words out. If that makes sense. Like I said, I struggle talking in the morning. Look at this, I'm already struggling in the moment. But with the music, it sets a mood and helps me sort of filter out every word that's going in my head and brings out the right ones, if that makes sense.
So what is your writing process?
My writing process is, if I'm feeling like I want to get something off my chest, I'll go on my Spotify playlist. I'll go into the mood section, and it'll be deep ambience or piano and stuff like that. And I'll just put it on, and I'll just start saying sentences. And then I'll start writing it down and seeing how it flows.
Oh, do you have another one for us, Mr.
I do. It's called Glasshouse, and this is one that I'll be officially dropping in a week's time. Yeah. So look out on my socials. My social is Mr. Nomform or Nomform_official. We'll sort that out. But this one, I'll explain this one. It's very personal to me. It's about imposter syndrome. So if someone was to compliment me, I genuinely wouldn't feel worthy of it. So that's what that deals with. So it's called Glasshouse. Bismillah. My see-through prison is actually a glass house. And I'm not really trapped in. I just haven't walked out. I've been wrapped in guilt, worry, doubt. All the things your mind gives life to so they can shout. Now that voice in my head, I've been arguing with again. Sometimes it loses, sometimes it wins. Telling me things like, I don't really have friends. They're just putting up with me, playing pretend. I'm charity for them with the time that they spend. Don't bother them again. But I know that voice holds no value. I've cooked up memories to try stand true, but the taste of them is bland too. I know I can't trust myself to deal with this internal issue. So that's where those around me come to clear my view. Big up my boy Munis. Because I can't, they believe in me. Because I won't, they give their love to me. Because I don't, they check up on me. And they don't do it because I'm in need. They do it out of sincerity. And I'm still learning my self-worth and the cause of my hurting. Time is unforgiving because the world's still turning, and this constant need for validation has been straining my efforts out of taming this pain I tried to keep at bay. Still a part of it remains. It's not something I put on display, but I do feel it every day. And a distraction only lasts for so long. Best friends eventually gone, they can't stay forever. Home is where they belong. Maybe I can find strength in them being strong. But back to this glass house. I think I figured it out. I'm not here to escape, nor am I trapped. I was tasked with lending my ear and help tap into the potential of those growing around me. They too have their battles with insecurity, place their trust secure in me, and I promise I'll carry them individually. And where I can't help physically, I'll try to help spiritually, alleviate the pressures of things going on mentally. Maybe this was meant for me. The belief we have in others, we neglect in ourselves. That's Glasshouse.
Come on. Come on.
You know what I'm saying, bro?
You've got a little hype in the background. I love
Ladies
that.
and gentlemen, Mr. Nonfon.
Hey, I got the best friends, man. I'm not even joking.
I
Like,
love that
my boys are the
energy.
best, man. My
That
boys
is
are the
such
best.
a beautiful energy. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much
Mr.
for having
Nonfrom. I know
me.
you were in the middle of something as well, like the passion, dedication.
No, thank you for hitting me up. I was like, whoa, hang on. I had to read the DM again. I was like, Desiree? I'm there. I'm there. Seriously, man, you're up there for me, man. So I appreciate that. For real, I appreciate it.
That's very humbling. That's very humbling. In
I
fact,
think
so
you have
humbling, I don't know
imposter
what to do with
syndrome.
it. Here we go. Just exactly what your poem was about. But I love poems about friends. I've got poems for my friends because I think they're incredible people. And I think that's like, also I was doing a workshop with some young people the other day, and they don't realize that you like, I was like, I have like probably about 3 good friends. And they were like, what? Like, that's so little. It's like, no,
it's so
that's
true.
literally all you need. Like, I've been lucky enough to find some beautiful people on my journey. And that's why I love that poem of yours. It's the real.
Thank you very much.
It's a real homage to them.
Thank you.
Guys, these comments are popping off. You don't even understand. Yay, Nonfrom. People are dropping your socials.
Oh, snap.
People are dropping Divya's socials, and Ramin's socials in the
support the local talent.
in the YouTube chat. Like, they know you guys. They're already obsessed. Like, they want a part of it. So if you haven't already, go over to the YouTube, drop your socials for the audience because they want to hear it. People are talking about people. Aura, yay, Nonfrom, super talented. Yeah, it's out there on there. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Anytime. So next we have, I don't know what the best like intro is to give to her, because we have so much history. Like, so much history. So to call her an amazing writer doesn't seem enough. To call her like a wonderful, beautiful friend doesn't seem enough. It always just feels like I'm not doing her justice. But I suppose just plainly, next we have Casey. Hi, Casey.
Hi, thank you. That was really, really nice of you to say. Really nice.
I tried. As I've mentioned before, like, we've written together before. So like, for those who've ever been in a workshop with me, I always talk about my failed rap career. Turned poetry.
God loves a trier, Desree. Don't put it down.
Exactly. Too many words. That's what I try and say to myself. So what started you writing? So I know we used to write together, but we kind of met each other writing. So like, what happened before then?
Well, life. It's always been so therapeutic for me. It's like almost a self-healing way of me getting everything out in a very safe and secure way, instead of, you know, blasting everybody with it. I put it on the page, and then I almost control, master, and deal with maybe some situations by manipulating the words. And that's how I then compose myself and get back to my life. And
by manipulating, do you mean like just rearranging them to sound nicer than they actually are?
No, so I suppose in a way it's more of controlling the words so that it reflects how I feel, but how I can then, like I say, it's therapeutic. So I can work my way through a situation by, I'm talking to myself when I put those words on the page.
Mm.
And I bring myself through whatever emotion it may be at the time. Sometimes it's sad and sometimes it's happy, and it's almost where I've been writing for such a long time now. It's become an emotional diary for me of my life. When I go back and I reflect over things, I know how I felt about it, and it then also leads me to my next piece of work, really.
Ah, so can we hear a diary entry?
Yeah. I am about to explode within, a combustion of emotional frustration, because the divorce to devotion to the streets, it is clashing like a storm in the ocean, like a heartbroken, I am just about coping, second guessing, I am feeling open. I never normally expose that I second guess what I chose, especially to the road, and it is so cold. Sold, soldier, calm. Your hype, I disregard. All I really want is money in my palm. I'm on point, I'm on guard. Hard-faced times and times again. Torture, it torture a lesson, and every lesson is a blessing, so I embrace every sin, and then I talk to him, jaded. The devil walked down my path, and yeah, we had a right laugh. Until she said, my child, you are an angel's twin. Jekyll and Hyde, stop hiding. Everyone deserves a chance to experience the other side and decide with open eyes on your trip, whether you're going to live in peace or rest in it. That's the end of that one, thank you.
Oh God, that was so good. Oh my God, some of the comments, Jane's in the comments.
Oh, wow.
Casey. Hi, Jane, by the way. Yes, go girl. Yes, get them. I love this. This is all in the comments. Like, yeah, it's wonderful. Like, I haven't seen you perform in such a long time, and I forgot how much of like a performer you are. Like, it's very energetic. So, you did some workshops from the car. So, like, when we were doing these workshops, most people were like in their rooms or in their office or in their study, and Casey's in her car. Casey, why don't you explain to us why you're in the car? And also the question is like, why, even though like you had these other responsibilities, what made you keep coming to this workshop? What made you keep working and writing?
The same reason I was in the car, my children.
Oh, yes.
I wanted to do it, so it brought me back to who I am, who I was before them, but who they've now made me to be. I wanted to produce new work in the new world that I was in now, and living this new life and moving on from certain, like I say, emotional times to where has that progressed. And like I said, it is a diary. But I was in the car because I think once I tried to do it in the house, and it was a like circus act. So unfortunately, I wouldn't have been able to put as much time and effort into it if I was in the house with my little boys. But they are the driving force behind everything that I do now. So, and that's why I kept coming, to show them, you start something, you finish it.
I've got goosebumps. How beautiful is it that is the same reason you were in the car is the same reason you're doing it. That was beautiful. And for my own personal question, when is the book out?
Okay,
explain the book.
Oh gosh, okay. So the book, it is about a girl who we as a reader follow her firsthand, and we experience how she goes through life, as we all, starting off very innocent, and her circumstances, her surroundings, situations she trips and falls into how she reacts, where that leads her, and the struggles and the turmoil she finds herself in at times. We go through that with her, and we also go through her mistakes, and we understand them, I believe, as the reader, because you become her. And the story really is following her path to see what happens at the end. Does she make it out?
I've read some of this book. I've not finished it yet, but I've read quite a lot of it. Beautiful. It's actually beautiful, beautiful story. Casey, can we have another one? Is that okay?
Yes, you can. Unlocking my front door, I enter a space that holds me, letting go of all of the things that I used to fear. I promised myself everything would be all right, even when I didn't believe it. I just knew that it had to be. Darkness smothered the days. I tore down the walls, blocking the sun's rays. Still, no shadow came. I swam in the deepest of blues. I sank. I learnt to breathe underwater. The salt purified my mind, washed up on the shore. I wasn't sure, and my body was sore. I forced the wings out of my back. It burned. Spreading my greatness, I soared.
Goosebumps. Oh my God, actual goosebumps. Okay, so we have in the chat, amazing, 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 emotional. You look great. Love the way you deliver. Wow. Always so much heartfelt truth in Casey's work. Casey, so good. Thank you so much for sharing with us. That was amazing, as usual. Thank you.
Thank you.
So next we have, now, the thing is with this next poet, no one ever believes me when I tell them how old she is. And I know that that shouldn't be her defining factor, because she's an amazing poet, like just full stop, point blank. It doesn't matter whether you put her amongst 30-year-olds, whether you put her amongst under 30-year-olds. Like, she's just wildly great. She's so gentle as well, and I think that that's just anyway. Next we have Aditi. Hi, Aditi.
Wow, thank you for that introduction. Now you've set the bar so high.
It is high, don't worry, it is high. It's definitely up there. Aditi, how old are you?
15.
Jesus Christ. And that doesn't mean anything to you guys right now, but the moment you hear her work, you're gonna be like, what was I even doing at 15? Like, where was I? What field was I in? Because it was nowhere near yours, I promise you that, Aditi. What inspired you to write? Like, what inspired you to be a poet, write poems? Where did that happen?
I know when I was really young, I used to write like basic kind of rhyme poems, and then I didn't write any poetry for a really long time. And then I remember on YouTube, I started watching slam poetry and spoken word, and most of it was in the US. And then actually one of the first poems, I think like Divya was saying, I found your poems on YouTube. And I was idolizing a bunch of poets, and you know, I saw your poems and I went on your website before I went to you, and I was like, oh my God, she's in Slough. And then I found out during lockdown you were doing workshops, and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna get to meet her. Those are things inspired me, but you're probably one of the things that inspired me.
Oh God. Oh,
amazing.
God. Well, okay, sorry. I was gonna ask you another question, but now I'm embarrassed. So can you can you share a poem with us?
Okay, yeah. So the poem I'm gonna share is kind of about feeling lonely even when you're not necessarily alone, like being in a
crowded room full of people, but then still feeling like you're kind of invisible. So this is called blending into backdrop. To be present and never really seen is to live in shadows that are never your own, is to sink into the sidewalk from footsteps imprinting your skin, to be stained and scarred by passers-by, and scattered like lost and long forgotten change is to slip through the cracks of rusting metal bars into sewers and tunnels and skewered underground, is to be a coin rolling through murky water, trying to find an escape into the light where found means walleted and pickpocketed, taken through the ages, belonging to everyone but yourself. To be invisible is to be a mirror, to be a reflection of a stranger, yet never reflected in another's glass eye, is existing only as camouflage wrapped around skin like armor, ready for war, the first thing to be hit in combat, considered collateral damage, synonymous with inanimate, which is to say inadequate, to be less than a constant blind spot, see-through, like water keeps you alive, taken for granted, transparent like windows to hold your clouded reflection like a still silhouette at sunrise, to catch your tears in the palms that are my window pane, to show you the horizon, whilst you look through me instead of at me. Present but never really seen, invisibility is a necessity in everyone else's lives, only ever an accessory confined to the main character's plotline. That's it, thank you.
I love, I love that all of you do, that's it, I'm done. Like, you could just say, you could end a poem by just being like, thank you, and then that's it. Then you start the new one. You don't have to be like, I'm done, bye. Aditi, oh my God, like, every time I hear you, it's just incredible, like, what you're able to achieve in your words. But also, and I know it's probably very annoying for you, and it's also not the be all and end all, but I think it's just really important how young you are, only because of how politically minded you are, and where, like, I'm very much an advocate for poetry as a form of activism. Like, the moment that you can reach people, you can talk to people, you can like touch people with your word, you become an activist because you are talking, shouting, screaming about something that makes complete sense to you. Where did your like political mindedness come from? Like, where did your activism come from?
Yeah, actually, when I first started writing poetry, a lot of the pieces that I wrote were about political issues, I guess. And I think that's probably because now the world is so much more like, things that you wouldn't think would be a political issue are politics, like Black Lives Matter or Me Too, where it's like human rights, but then we have to have a debate over it. So I think poetry was a way to kind of convey that without just getting really, really angry.
Well, you can get still quite angry. We all
make it sound nice.
Yeah. Just have a little bit of metaphors and similes in there. Makes it better. So what, like, where do you see yourself, like 20, 30, 40? Like, what do you see yourself doing? Where do you see yourself? What are your aspirations?
I think, like, I've always wanted to do a bit of everything, I guess, but more recently I've kind of wanted to be an activist, actually. Like, when people ask what do you want to do with your career, I want to do something around activism and talking about those kind of issues. But obviously that's not exactly like when you're talking about GCSEs or A-levels that I'm doing now, nobody exactly tells you, oh, you have to take that subject if you want to become an activist. But that's kind of what I want to do, make some difference in the world.
Aditi, I'm so sure you're going to make some difference in this world. I'm so sure. You speak so eloquently. The way you're able to write is so concise. Like, you will change minds and hearts. So don't you worry about that. And your activism can come in so many different forms, whether that is like you've taken a political science degree and you've done that, or whether you've you do something and then you still write on weekends and go to open mic nights, you will change lives. Don't you worry about that. Do you have another poem for us?
Yeah, and actually the next poem is also political, because it's kind of about the history of Britain, I guess, in the context of current immigration conversations. So this is called Non-Consensual Colonization. British Empire was uninvited party guest, declared themselves host, made the house their own. When they arrived unannounced and pronounced themselves kings, they stole our jewels and decorated their crown, then stole our soils as self-proclaimed land, divided the citizens to conquer the country, dictated the subjects as their slaves who had to make space for the foreign rulers of their land. And now here we stand in their great nation seeking better lives, and after having plundered and looted, they get to decide we immigrants are too foreign to reside. They say I take up too much space. Tell me there is not enough room for colour, that Britain lives in white. So return home to your own country, the same home that this great nation of Britain colonized, left impoverished by an empire that should only have had the rights to claim one island occupied. Yet they conquered 24% of all land across international waters. And now there is suddenly an issue of borders. Thank you.
What a last line! You know, I love a last line of these. Oh God, it is so incredible to watch you perform. It is so incredible to just like all of you. Really, like I'm being so honest. Like it's so incredible to know you all and to just be a part of your process, because you guys have all come with absolute fire, and I feel just honored to be able to just host this night and be like, hey, I've got some questions that I wanted to ask you in the workshops but was inappropriate. So I'm just so glad.
Everyone's been super amazing. I
know the comments are just so good. How amazing! Well done! Wow! I can already see the changes she could bring in the world. Already sharing so many fruits. Amazing fire! Like it's so good. Also, Casey, somebody, how professional with all the dogs in the background, which is great because she's, but we'll get on to that. Thank you so much, Aditi. And last, but in no way at all least, is Kat. What can I say about Kat? Kat, what I find so intriguing about her is how little she believes in herself, but how amazing her poems are. Like the disparity in it is just so wild that it makes you think that sometimes that she must be lying. like she actually can't be. She must be pretending that she thinks that this poem is rubbish, because it's actually incredible. And obviously she has ears. So, hi, Kat. How are you?
Hi. It's good to know that my defining trait is my low self-esteem. So that's fun.
Like that.
No, that's so nice, though. I nearly cried.
But every single time I enter a poetry, because I think one of the beautiful things about these workshops is that there's very few people in these workshops that I've actually met in real life. And Kat, you're one of them. We've never met in like actual IRL. Like we've never been, we might have been in the same space, but we've just never known. Mm-hmm. And every time I see you perform, like I read your poems, I hear you perform your poems, and it's just with like, I just think, oh my God, does she know how amazing that was? And then you say something and it's very obvious that you didn't.
Thank you, sorry.
So as much as it's like your defining character isn't your low self-esteem, because I don't know you outside of this weird world that we've created for ourselves, but I just always, every time I hear your work, I want you to believe in it as much as I believe in it. Like that's always. So what I wanted to ask you is like, when and how did you discover this passion for writing? Like when did this happen?
I think it was one of them things, like, you know how in primary school you're either really shit at something or really good at it. I was really shit at everything but writing, so it became the thing that I did. And then I think at one point I told myself that I wasn't going to be able to make anything of it, like full stop. And then I had this really horrible boyfriend as well who was like, yeah, you're never going to go anywhere with it. And I around uni, I like decided that it wasn't going to be what I did. So I took like the hard version of English, like linguistics, which I hated, rather than what I actually wanted to do. And then I came back to it after uni and was like, oh, actually, no, this is what I was supposed to be doing the entire time. So that's cool. But yeah.
So where did you do linguistics?
In Kent, in Canterbury. And then next year I'm supposed to be doing what was it? Creative, digital and professional writing in London. So that's fun. Yeah.
But I suppose I imagine, especially as well from your writing, that you got a lot from the linguistic course, no?
Oh yeah. Mostly crying, but you know, like it was good. Yeah.
Can you share with us something?
Yeah, totally. Shout out to my boys, by the way. I know some of you are watching. Hi. Okay, cool. So I wrote this one. It's called Not a Girl, which is, yeah, a Britney Spears reference because I'm incredible. But yeah. First blood makes moon beasts out of men. Soon the ones with the wolfish yellow eyes won't avert their gaze with the haste that they once did. They say men smell it like dogs, but they're wrong. Dogs are warm and curious with soft muzzles that you can shove away from your crotch if they get too friendly. Some men smell blood like pigs who wear leather and signet rings, who smell like your dad and will eat you alive if you stumble on your way home. Some men smell blood like hyenas from 2 or was it 3 years above, who offer you spliffs and bottom shelf vodka at parties and close in when the fog seeps from the tarmac. In the cycle of shed and regrowth, fight and forfeit, forgive and forget, all swelling in time with the moon's distant heartbeat, you will find yourself renewing your vows to your womanhood every day in the love you give and the keys between your knuckles.
Good God, you know I love a last line.
That's why I picked it. I was like, you'll like that.
Every day.
Yeah.
Oh. Also, I love that somebody in the comments put, I'm so excited that Cat exists.
No.
I feel like that's the energy that we all have.
I'm actually going to cry.
Excited you exist. And that like this energy and this power that you bring to absolutely everything is just wonderful. And it's like, it's also coated in this like nonchalance. But it's just like, but it's obviously there's so much care and consideration and passion in everything you do. It's just it's infectious. It's actually infectious.
That means so much to me.
You're amazing.
Oh.
So one of the things that I've noticed very much about like the way that you write is very much the way you speak. Mm-hmm. Which I think is very interesting because like I've done a lot of workshops where people have told me like where I've tried to like fancy something up and people have been like, that's actually not how you speak. Like you grew up in Slough on an estate, like that's actually not the way that you form language. So like talk, like write how you talk. Like how did this happen? Is this conscious? Is this conscious? Is that like something you do on purpose that you write exactly how you speak?
I think a big part of it is me trying to avoid being cringy, and like because I just feel like if I try and be really like floral with like the things that I do, I think there's a time and a place for it, obviously, and I think everyone can do that. But like I think if I specifically try and do that, people are going to think that I've got this idea of myself that I really don't have. Like I'm always so embarrassed by everything that I write that I try and make it the most like not accessible, but like the most sort of straightforward that I can, even when I am trying to make it like, ooh, you know, like. That makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And it's not accessible, but like that's the beauty of spoken word, especially. Like it is accessible. Like I'm saying something without everything else that makes it very easy to relate and communicate with, which I think your work does beautifully. And also you pinpoint these moments in your life like so well and like bring us in and tell us this story that is just like wonderful. Like is this
Thank you so much.
Where do you see yourself? Like, is this something you see like longevity? Is this like, are you a poet? Will you forever be a poet? Will you be a writer? Do you write other stuff? Like, there's just so many questions.
I don't know. Like, I'd love to make something out of this. As just generally, I've considered like going through the Google Drive and like picking out my best stuff and like putting it in like one Word document, maybe printing it and being like, look what I made. But like, I'm hoping that I will be able to go somewhere with writing just full stop. I don't know if I've frozen. Am I frozen?
No. What I think the freezing of everybody was when you were like, oh, I'm going to print everything and then be like, look what I made. Everybody called that a book. you would make a book. So what you're thinking about is making a book of poems. And I love that you just find it so hard to celebrate yourself. So everybody, you heard it here first. Kat Holmes is going to make an anthology, a collection, a book of work that we're all going to be so excited to read because it came from Kat. Thank you. Do you have another time?
Maybe.
To finish off, that would be the last time of the evening.
Yeah, I do. Sweet, I better make it good then. Jesus. All right, cool. Thank you so much. And everybody's been amazing, by the way. Like, I just want to say that everybody's been absolutely incredible, and I'm so grateful for being able to actually have done this with you guys. But yeah, I'll read the thing. So this one's called Ghosts, and we had a workshop on the theme of ghosts a couple months back, and yeah, so I thought it was right. Anyway, my newest therapist is called David. David, like the first boy to try and possess me, to weave himself into the worlds of my brain and become the voice that told the body what to eat, how to dress, when to fuck off. Therapist David sighs when I try and talk about what's kept at bay by my raw iron ribs. He wants to talk about real ghosts, the gaping hole in the shape of my dad, the smaller hole in the shape of his liver. I scratch the uneasy truth into my walls about how the man who held his own hungry casket up to both of our throats only loves me in absentia, the shadows I cast against his skin, the way I change the temperature of his dirty mattress. In the crypt fashioned from my childhood bedroom, the dead things inside of me fester, slick but quiet with grief. I'm only haunting myself.
Oh, God, you're so amazing. Thank you so much, Kat. Thank you for rounding that off. This has been beautiful. This has been wonderful. This has been lovely. Thank you, everybody, so much who's currently on YouTube tuning in to this live event. We made a zine, guys, and it is so good. Shout out to Abir, who I saw in the comments, who designed it. Like, real talk, she is amazing. If you find her on Instagram, she is so good. She does such great work. I'm going to find her Instagram for you to tell you now. But I just want to say as well, like, how amazing these workshops have been for me. I know I mentioned it at the beginning, but realistically, I've seen these guys and more. There's loads more than I'd seen a lot of my friends at that period. And it was just so incredible to have such energy and such life and such beauty and such insight in like one space. And I feel very humbled and very gracious that I was able to facilitate and make the space happen, really. We have another set of work. Oh, Abir's Instagram, please check her out because she's incredible. Is Abir Kini Design. So that's ABERKIANI.design. That's on Instagram. Somebody hopefully would have been great and put that in the YouTube comments rather than me trying to find it and causing feedback. I'm going to go back through everyone that's still here and ask them to share their socials so that you can find them and follow their work. We're going to start with Kat.
Hello, my Instagram is it's catmate. Mate is with an 8, like M8.
You should spell it, Kat. Sorry.
Oh, ITSKATM8.
Perfect.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're on mute. Sorry, babe.
My Instagram is Divya Dancer, at DIVYA and then dancer.
Perfect. Thank you. Romy? Oh, you're on mute.
Sorry, mine's Raman's journal, so it's just raman.s_journal.
Perfect. Aditi?
Mine, so on Insta, ADITI_ZXS, and I have a YouTube channel called Save Our World where I post videos, which is in the comments probably.
Oh, perfect. Javed?
Hi, yes. I guess everything you need to know is on www.poetsforpeace.co.uk.
Perfect. Thank you. Casey?
Mine is Miss KC, which is MISSS, 3 S's, KC.
Perfect. And we also had Jamaica. Her Instagram is Jamaica Sutton, so that's JAMIKASUTTON_. And we also had Mr. Nomfon, which his one is MRNOMFOM. Hopefully they are all in the chat, in the link for you. My Instagram handle is @Desree, so I will change it at some point, but just bear with me. It's DEZZIIEE_. I just got a message from my mum saying, "Are you not performing?" Oh. No, sorry, I'm not. Oh God, everybody in the comment. Okay, I'm gonna do one very quick one. Very, very quick one. This is a collection of poems that's in the zine. They are called 6 Haikus for My Brother, who isn't listening because he's probably doing something else. But, but these are 6 haikus for my brother. 1. My brother Shakim has a peanut-shaped head, but a big, huge heart. 2. Shaq does not eat fish. However, he will do if it is on my plate. 3. She may think you're cute, but has she ever tried to chase you drunk and naked? 4. He's going to hate this. I love that. 4. Beg you, go grab it. It's upstairs. I'll time you. Go. Teaching him to fetch. 5. If he asks, should I almost always answer, absolutely not. And 6. Can you tell mum that you cut your own hair, please? It's been 21 years. There's some haikus from my brother. Thank you so much. Guys, everybody in the YouTube comments, we are running another set of workshops. They're starting next week, Wednesday. We're going to do an under 18s and an over 18s group. The under 18s starts from 6 till 7. The over 18s is 7:30 till 8:30. They're going to be every Wednesday for the next 5 weeks, just one extra week of lockdown if you're in the UK. But you don't have to be in the UK if you want to join in because it's Zoom. So because we're all online. So you can be wherever you want. Like Ramin is in Pakistan. And we had another amazing poet called Ether. She was in Saudi Arabia. Like you can be everywhere, anywhere you want to be in the world. You can get the link to the workshops on my Instagram. It's in my bio. It's also in Empowered Slough, so it's @Empowered Slough. It's in their bio, and it's also @Home Slough's bio. We are going to be doing this again. We're going to have another beautiful set of workshops. Thank you so much for tuning in and all the love that you've given to these amazing poets. I am absolutely in awe that they decided to share their work with me. So one more time, just to say thanks again. We had Jamaica, we had Javed, we had Ramin, we had Divya, we had Mr. Nomfom, we had Casey, we had Aditi, and we had Kat, who absolutely blew us away. Thank you so much. You guys are absolutely amazing. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. I know I will. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you so much, Des. Thank you, you're amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Love this. Thank you.